Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we welcome you to another episode of the Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 Studios here in sunny Southern California. Hope everyone's having a great day. Thanks for being along for the ride. Day Trader Trio is along for the ride, always with us. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you guys.
Back here at the bar is Costa, it's Mary Godwin, and Sully.
Will you get a little sound to start the show, please? Come on, let's get something happening.
1, 2, 3,
Did you just say that after TikTok got sold, that the engagement's down?
There's words being banned, and there's the way it's being delivered is different. It's changing. So I noticed it when we did a post here. So like,
because we don't get like 50,000 or 60,000 views on something.
At least
we got like 200.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's just a crappy post, Mary.
I mean,
is people boycotting?
Very well true, but some of our other crappy posts, we're still getting thousands of.
Is it because people are mad that a major capitalist like Larry Ellison has purchased TikTok?
That's one of the reasons, and then also it's just the way the algorithm has changed.
A major capitalist purchased Twitter.
Yeah,
but ours was about
ours.
Hours.
TikTok hours? I thought you were talking about TikTok.
No, the post. Yeah. It was a clip from this show.
Yeah.
And it was about the IRS. So that was in the caption. So it could be that they're like...
That they thought it was the IRS watching them?
No, they just don't want to put that out. They think it's maybe anti-government or something.
Do you guys, speaking of politicized sort of social constructs, do you remember the GameStop meme stops?
That's what took your thing off. That's how TikTok money got started, was your... TikTok about GameStop.
That's exactly right. Howie Font here, our lead analyst from New York, is to talk about GameStop. Those meme stocks, I thought it was a Tesla. Was it GameStop?
That was GameStop.
Yep.
We had 1 million active users, like literally. We got 100,000.
Oh, that thing went viral, your first video, yeah.
Howie, what's up, bud?
What did it look today?
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
What is going
on?
Howie,
button downs, but
excuse us, Sprockets.
No, apparently.
A balmy 18 and sunny.
I can see him rolling into one of those New York City cocktail bars with that mock turtle on.
For sure. That's a mock turtle.
Walk in and give him the finger pistols to somebody.
Howie Font, when he wears that, he doesn't applaud. He just goes like this.
Yes, exactly.
That's something he
does.
I pretty much do my glare at everyone. No one. You get applause through the eyes. That's it.
Going to a poetry.
I was going to say, he's going to a poetry slam after.
Where's your beret?
Hey, so 2021. If I'm not mistaken, it was a GameStop.
Half a decade.
So what happened? I think a bunch of activist investors were upset at a hedge fund that was either shorting the stock or doing something manipulative. To talk about that.
Yeah. So traditionally, you have shorts. We've talked about shorts a lot on the show, but people that think that the stock is priced too high for whatever reason, whether it's technical, whether it's fundamental, the business model of the company is not sound, the company's not making enough money, something like that. But with GameStop, you had a lot of those short sellers in the name, and you had so many short sellers that you actually had more people shorting the stock than there actually had shares that existed, which means, as Sully's talked about a lot, there was naked shorting.
It's called spoofing.
Some clever, it's kind of basic now, but at the time it was very clever of people to notice, options traders got together, and a bunch of retail traders got together on Reddit and other places and started buying calls options, which basically lets you use a lot of leverage in the short term. But the market makers have to balance these options with all the shorting, and so you have
they had to cover short. Yeah, they had to cover the shorts. In other words, if you bet against the stock, basically what you're doing is you're borrowing the stock before you own it. You're selling it the day that you borrowed it. Mm-hmm. So now you owe the shares back, but you got the money, right?
Yeah.
So if you can buy them back at a cheaper price, you get to keep the difference, right? So say you sell up in a couple of days, you buy something for 100, you sell something for 100 and only have to buy it back at 80. You just pay $20. Well, unless someone was buying the stock and it goes up, and if it goes up, then you have to cover the difference.
Oops.
And that's what these guys did. They caught him in short.
But one of the things that made GameStop special is instead of just winning that bet and taking their money off the table and saying, "Ha ha, I win," instead of selling out their shares, covering letting the shorts cover. They didn't let the shorts cover. They kept the squeeze going, and people were buying on top of they were already up 1,000%.
And then it turned into a momentum play. Where people are doing what's called round trips. That means you buy and sell and buy a stock in the same day. And non-day traders are starting to day trade this thing. And the swell came. Everyday investors I'm just saying, how we probably helped this thing along, don't you think?
Oh, they hold it aloft to this day. I mean, on fundamentals, it's really hard to argue that GameStop is worth the $20-ish that it is trading at right now.
It's a sticks and bricks company that sells games. No short will
ever touch it, so you'll never see a more kind of accurate price than that in the market right now.
Is GameStop still in business?
Oh yeah.
But the problem is, it's a sticks and bricks business that sells games,
right?
Which is so obsolete. It'd be like a company selling 8-track tape players that's actually moving up in the stock.
Yeah,
it's a good example of why the stock market sometimes has nothing to do with the business itself. Can this happen again, Howie?
So I think history rhymes. It doesn't exactly repeat. So you won't see that kind of play happen again. I mean, the hedge funds that lost money lost billions of dollars. People went out of business. Melvin Capital, famously, and they're not going to make that mistake. It's too important for them to not be aware of that. But similar mistakes will happen. And what we've seen in the 5 years since GameStop is a lot more of this organized meme stock trading movement. And it's trying to transport itself between, many, many companies. I mean, Carvana had some news yesterday, but that's been fairly indestructible. Open Door has been fairly indestructible. And you've seen these big run-ups from people that are true believers in the long term, or in at least screwing the hedge funds that are betting against the stock.
What's next in terms of for retail traders like that are looking for those kind of bargains? Because you can't really tell them. It's tough to jump into one of these things until they're sort of moving. And then I would argue that the wisdom involved in trading individual stocks like that without completely being bought in is a little bit sketchy anyway.
Yeah, I wonder if this is how a generation, you always talk about how few Americans are actually in the stock market at all. If this is a gateway that gets them and they do this for a couple of years and all of a sudden they just decide, you know what, I do believe in the market, but I'm just going to buy ETFs because I have a life and my wife is telling me to come see the kids. And
well, I mean, look, prior to COVID, I think it was 48% of the country was actively investing. And during COVID, it went up to like 58%. But we're back down to less than half the country actually actively invest in the stock market. I'm not talking about day trading. I'm talking about actually investing, which is a little bit tragic because you don't have money at risk. Then you're subject to the rule of 72s and whatever interest rate prevails.
Do you think, Howie, we had an audience the other day, it was college kids, and we asked them how
many of them
yes. But we asked them how many of them invest, and a lot of them, a majority, I think, raised their hands, and they maybe do it on Robinhood or I don't know all the ways.
But it's still investing.
But because it's easier now, do you think this younger generation, as they get older, it's going to be more people that are investing?
Yeah, Mary, that's part of the reason why I don't think this is going away. It's going to keep the GameStop meme stock trend going for much longer than it might have otherwise. I mean, we have zero commissions, we have fractional shares, so you don't have to pay for
and you can do it from your iPhone.
$100 share or something. You can just put in $100 whenever you have it, and that enables people.
Howie will be putting a clinic on how to start a meme stock. I'll give his home phone number out. He'll be at the Carlisle tonight.
Well done, Howie.
Thanks, buddy.
Howie Font, market analyst here on the Big Biz Show. Always smarter after we talk with him.
That's right.
Applaud that performance.
Yeah.
All right, keep it here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show. Do not go anywhere. Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Studio in Southern California, our international headquarters, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we appreciate it. We appreciate those guys right there. That is the Day Trader Trio. As Mary and I like to say, no less than self-taught, best in the business anywhere. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Mary Britt Godwin, and it is Sully.
Can you imagine the day when you not only get a pizza delivered from the sky?
Go on.
But you could also get a pack of Funyuns and a mile of beef from Slim Jim. Dan O'Toole is back. Introduce
Dan O'Toole, CEO and founder of Arrive AI. Their ticker symbol is ARAI, and he's back with us, thankfully, right here on the Big Biz Show. Mr. O'Toole, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back, guys. How are you?
Great to see you, man. I got to tell you, and we're going to be hearing a lot more from him as we're covering this company going forward, but I have to ask you, when you decided to go into this space, I mean, in my mind, it's like deciding to go to the basketball shoe space, and Nike's there, and it's the path to getting involved or the barrier to entry is pretty high. And it is because of technology. But you guys took it straight on, and now you guys are making this a reality. Talk about that first decision when we started seeing, I guess it was drones dropping off packages poorly by Amazon, and suddenly you said, "I found a need, I'm going to fill it."
Literally dropping them.
Right. Yeah. Hey, sorry guys, there's no wealth without risk, right? And if you don't take the risk, you're never going to see where you go. So it's all about, just seeing the risk, taking it, jumping in with both feet. This is America. That's what we do here. And, we raced to the patent office. We beat Amazon by 4 days on our first patent, the U.S. Postal Service by 2 weeks, another company by 22 days. And that set us off with a great pace. If you win that race, you're full in. If we didn't win that race, wouldn't be here with you guys today.
Well, it's interesting because there's this article that came out, I think it was just yesterday or the day before, talking with an interview with you about the blueprint. Tell the folks who haven't heard you before exactly what you guys are up to, because the common core of the company is pretty impressive. It goes back to sort of the pre-internet days on work ethic and sort of vision. But at the same time, you guys are at the tip of the spear for AI. Talk about how AI is moving into this I guess, delivery service from air.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it the playbook, PLAI, with the pun intended, right?
Yeah, right.
We're executing our playbook. The notion, first of all, autonomous delivery is going to happen. It's happening right now. If you believe in that, then you have to believe in the infrastructure play, and that is us. You got the $1 trillion market caps, Arrive, Google, Walmart, others iterating in this space, and it's really not scalable to drop items on the ground or to pick them up from the ground, right? You have to have a safe, secure, universal access point, a network, a platform, and that's who we are. That's Arrive AI. We are the ground traffic control, the air traffic control. We'll be granting the overflight rights, the on-site rights. We'll be doing all the route scheduling. Nobody ever thought about the notion of multiple deliveries coming to the same people. They always thought myopically about how they're going to manage their own end-to-end solution, and that's not scalable. If you look at the Tesla supercharging network, when all the automakers started coming into the EV space, they did their own end-to-end charging solution, and guess what? That's not scalable. Go ahead. Man.
Well, the interesting part of it, the analogy for me is when cannabis was suddenly. Recreational cannabis and medicinal cannabis was suddenly shoved upon the states to get it approved, but there was no infrastructure. There was no infrastructure at all for this huge economy. what you guys have thought about this thing is maybe doing the best practices prior to the on-ramp, which I think is brilliant. I mean, you guys will be there when actually the technology comes fully baked, correct?
We're ready to go. We're asynchronous delivery is going to unlock the last 50% of all the value, excuse me, sorry guys, of autonomous delivery. Right now, everything is synchronous. If you get a robot to deliver a Starbucks order to you have two things have to happen. You have to be there to meet the robot. The robot has to be there to meet you. What if we can unlock every item's own cadence? So a drone delivers to your arrive point, a robot fetches that item, or you get it yourself on your own cadence. No commerce is being held up. Everybody gets to flow in their own momentum, and that's what unlocks the last 50% of all the value to be gained through autonomous delivery.
Dan, asking for a friend, will you be dropping off weed anytime soon? Or
you know what? We've actually shout out to Fly High in Denver. They reached out to us. And, it's a thing. I mean, there's a lot of restrictions to happen, but
sure.
what? 91% of all deliveries are 5 pounds or less. That includes weed, right? So safe, secure, heated, cool, chain of custody. These are all compelling versions of things that, can be delivered that way.
Dan O'Toole is the CEO founder of Arrive AI, ticker symbol ARAI.
Hey, Dan, when you guys were at CES, what was, now that you've got postmortem for your team, what was sort of the thought, and what was the biggest curiosity of people visiting you guys? Because I hear you guys are very popular over there.
You know what? We blew it away. The notion, just really the market had not thought about the way we're thinking about things. And there's a big realignment happening. I can tell you the largest companies in the world are seeing our vision. We're the buzz of the show. And we've got NDA signed with 20 companies coming out of that. And We're having on-site visits right now. We had 3 yesterday, and we've got more in the next 2 weeks from those companies, largest companies in the world. So stay tuned. It's exciting.
Hey, before I let you out of here, I want to talk about social media. You guys are putting a ton of great stuff on social media. How do people follow you guys out there?
Hey, all the Arrive at Arrive AI, all those socials, you can go to our website, arriveai.com. You can sign up there. We're very communicative. We love our investor community. We had 5,000 investors prior to going public. We do a little catch-up show called The Dan Show. That's me, Dan O'Toole, the CEO.
You need to come here and do that here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're in here to do that show. I'm doing it with you.
Dan O'Toole, CEO founder, Arrive AI. It is going to be so much fun to follow Mr. O'Toole and this company. It is a rocket that is already launched. All right, keep it right here. This rocket will continue to launch as well. It's called The Big Biz Show. Don't go anywhere. In over 175 countries and all the ships at sea, you can hear us on the American Forces Radio Network. As always, a brave shout out to the men and women of the United States Armed Forces for what you do, what you have done for us. Day Trader Trio right there. They do it every single episode of The Big Biz Show right here in the Loft 100 studios. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, it's Maribert Godwin, and it is Sully.
And a big hello to our 85 million U.S. broadcast homes and BizTV, American Life Network. Good to see you. We're also considered not just a television show, we're also considered a podcast.
That's right.
We're a podcast. Well, with you on the show, we're not considered broadcast, if you know what I mean. I think you do.
We are in broadcast television.
We're if you ask Mary, wherever you are.
Spotify, Apple, all the things.
Yeah, all the things. Well, because, look, we're a television show.
Yeah.
Right? But now we got to be what the kids look at, so we got to say, I think we have to say we're a podcast. Maybe we're a podcast that's on television.
Yeah.
Because
that's a good way to describe it.
Podcast. The problem with the most podcasts I see are people say, I got my own podcast, but it's like it's Wayne's World. Who's listening? Who's watching?
Well, it's a microphone and a light bulb hanging, from the
Kelly, welcome to our show.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Bob from next door's here.
But then you've got people like Joe Rogan and Conan O'Brien and
monsters.
Yeah, exactly. And my question is, should they be television shows? Because I think they could pull. And look at terrestrial radio, terrestrial television is still the king of all media.
Yeah.
You might think everyone's watching and listening on podcasting. They are.
They're watching.
And they're listening.
People watch Joe Rogan on YouTube and
right. But he could pull that trigger larger if he's on Sunday night on CBS.
Right. But he probably wants to own 100% of his content.
Yeah, sure. They would control his content.
And who watches CBS anymore? I mean,
60 Minutes. Everybody does.
The younger generations don't, though.
I haven't watched regular television other than football, basketball, baseball.
You and I both.
And by the way, now I'm on NFL Network and MLB Network. I'm watching it through my cable company, which, speaking of which, a new article coming out showing that cable companies are now going to be called internet companies because those packages of channels that they're giving you are no longer going to be available because you just don't need them. I mean, there's other than local news. And they've got to figure out a way for local news to be
I'm fascinated talking to Gen Zers about their viewing habits. I'm Toph.
Well, we got the right guy.
That's right.
Who do we got
Corey Perlman, social media keynote speaker. He's the owner of Impact Social Media, Inc. CoreyPerlman.com, ImpactSocialMedia.com. We love when he comes on because Mary always asks him the best question.
Hey, Corey. So, Corey, we're a television show. Like, you turn on the cable, you find us on TV in the living room. But we're also now decided this year to go out on the interweb, as you may have heard it's called, because and this is a long-time argument where just because you have a microphone doesn't make you a broadcaster. Just because you have a fast car doesn't make you a NASCAR racer. Right. However, there are some people that have broken through into the podcast space. And I will tell you, most of the podcasts you've never heard of are making a ton of money and they've got a ton of viewership. But still...
They have loyal viewers, which I think is a key, right?
But I mean, does it make sense for some of these new platforms coming out to maybe get terrestrial TV and radio involved? Because it's not going anywhere. I mean, we're still turning on radios when disaster happens. We're looking for where the earthquake, fire deal is or tornado. You turn on AM radio to find out locally. You're not going online other than maybe the Weather Channel. So what's the answer?
Well, first of all, I think the glasses look great, by the way.
I've got my new Meta glasses. Let me tell you why. So I can type and talk at the same time, and you think I'm just listening to you. I'm actually
That's awesome. Well, you look good. Now, you bring up a good question about local news. We'll see how they figure that out. But a stat that might startle you guys is that YouTube is the most popular streaming site on our TV. So it's beating Netflix, all those things. So, people are still, to your points, watching people like Joe Rogan, things of that nature on that channel, which is just very interesting to me.
Yeah, Corey, you speak, one of my 2026 goals was to learn how to play cribbage. And I will go home at night.
Hi, I'm 900.
And I will
years old. Sorry.
And I will bring up YouTube TV on my TV and I will hit, hey idiot, this is how you play cribbage. So
see, I use YouTube to do that.
I thought you were joking about the cribbage thing. This is real?
Serious, yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna learn how to make Afghans next year.
Macrame.
But look, I use YouTube like that too. If I want to see Celebrity Jeopardy on Saturday Night Live,
YouTube.
I go to YouTube.
Yeah.
If I want to watch Will Ferrell's acceptance of the Mark Twain Award, YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't use it for shows. I don't know if I would know how to use it for shows.
But it's on TV, which I think is interesting. I don't think anyone ever expected that the main channel that people would be watching their YouTube is on their TV as opposed to their phones or computers, which is just interesting to me.
Yep.
Hey, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Well, I have a couple questions. Now,
of course,
I always have questions for Corey.
Yeah.
Well, the number one thing is I have been hearing more and more about Substack, and finally, because of changes in algorithms and whatnot, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to these people's Substack, and I'm getting way more content and in-depth things. Is this a platform we should be looking at?
Yeah, I think it is, Mary. You had brought it up to me a few weeks ago, and since you did, I have also heard its name probably 50 times in different conversations. So that makes me take notice. And the question I asked is why? And I think it's the same reason that you all have been saying to me over the last few months, which is I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of the algorithm. I'm getting tired of AI videos. And Substack is the opposite to that. And I would say the best way I can describe it is Instagram, TikTok, rented land. Substack is more of a newsletter platform. Think a little antiquated, kind of back in the day, but it's an opportunity for us to take back the algorithm and create our own content that people can see.
Because if you and I start talking about, well, now we're going to see, I don't spend much time on social because I don't have time, but if I scroll through before I go to sleep or something, now I'm going to see cribbage.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right?
And Substack.
Big Brother heard and will deliver. Cribbage.
So what happened to us going on there as a social platform to see what your friends are doing? or see what other, that no longer exists, right? First of all, I've lost interest in it altogether anyway, just because it's just, if I say the word pyramids of Giza, now I'm going to just watch all day long, if I'm going to doom scroll, how pyramids of Giza were made, what's going on, why they were actually aliens. I mean, it'll be hours of that content until I sing up something like ice cream sandwich. Then suddenly, here comes the ice cream sandwich factory out of New Zealand. It's amazing to me how they just don't let. It's not very democratic anymore. I mean,
no, and that's another thing that is bubbling up to the surface right now. Sites like you've heard of Blue Sky. There's another site called Upscrolled and Skylight Social. These are all platforms that are trying to answer the I'm tired of the algorithm telling me what I want to see. And so these are unregulated platforms, or deregulated, or whatever the word you want to use, so that you can start to see the stuff that you want to see as opposed to what the algorithm wants you to see.
Do you recall when we had Vine?
Yes.
And we had MySpace back then.
Yep.
And we had
MySpace was way before Vine, I think.
I'm just saying though,
Oh,
but people were flocking to these.
Yeah. Yes.
They were. I mean, it was so popular. The Vine was a 3-second video, right? I mean, that was insanely popular with my daughters. But guess what's still here? Facebook and Instagram. I didn't say Instacart. I said Instagram. but they're still here, and of course LinkedIn. Those have been around for. Are they ever going to? Are those the big three, like in network TV? And
That's a great question, and I think the answer is yes. And that's why some of the new platforms, like Threads, is an example where I think I'm more bullish on, because it's owned by Meta. And what you've probably noticed, I know Sully, you're not using social very much, but those of you who are using Instagram and Facebook and those platforms, they're pushing Threads every day. You see it in your scroll. So it's an easy way for them to create adoption that way.
Corey, with Ellison buying TikTok, what does that mean for the platform?
You know, it's the algorithm's changing. There are more concerns. I thought there'd be less concerns. It seems like there's more concerns now, so more opportunity for other platforms to bubble up. So the one I mentioned, Upscrolled, in particular, is gaining hot market share right now, specifically because of that move.
Corey Perlman, social media keynote speaker. He is our go-to everything social media, owner of Impact Social Media Inc., 2 websites, Corey Perlman, PERLman.com and ImpactSocialMedia.com. Loft 100 Studios, The Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
It is the Big Biz Show. We continue. Mary, don't make me laugh right before we go back on air. That is the Day Trader Trio. That is Sully, what, 1/3, 1/4 of the band Sullivan, I think?
About 2/5, I think.
2/5 of the band Sullivan, right there on stage, live in your eyeballs. And back here at the bar, we're live too sometimes. It's Costa, Faber Godwin, and Sully. Allan Evans, CEO, Unusual Machines. And he's an unusual guy, which means he is awesome. Their ticker symbol.
It's Doctor. By the way, it's Doctor.
Is it Dr. Evans? It sure is.
Wait, how
Dr. Allan Evans.
Calling him that from the beginning?
We got to start calling him Doctor.
He's too good of a friend of mine. It's too good of a friend of mine to call him Doctor.
Don't call me Doctor.
Here we go. This writes itself. What's up, Doc?
Exactly.
Ticker symbol UMAC. You're welcome.
So bad.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
Are you back in the offices now, or are you traveling worldwide? What are you doing? Where are you
I'm in the office right now. I'm in the office, so bouncing all over. Just waiting to see what happens with the government shutdown.
Yeah, well, the funny part is that I don't think I've ever seen a company that has been so resilient through some of the stuff the government does, because at the same time, you're kind of subject to it. Give us an overview of the U.S. drone manufacturing parts industry as it relates to the crap that goes on in Washington. Sometimes this thing's played right here. You predicted some of this stuff a year ago, and now we're continuing to wait and see with these guys. What's going on? Give us an overview of what's happening in the industry.
Yeah, so FCC came along and banned all foreign drones and drone parts for being new. So sort of upended everything in that regard, right? So if you even want to build a new drone, you have to use domestic drone parts.
You got to go through Allan.
FCC.
You got to go through Allan. He's now the godfather of the drone. But that was a significant sort of thing that came down. But then when it upends the industry, then suddenly careful what you wish for, because suddenly now you got too many dollars looking for too few goods and services again, correct? And that potentially increases prices.
Definitely, and maybe not increase the price, but creates a lot of pressure. So even over Christmas, after it came down, we started the hiring process, and we're going to 3 shifts immediately. And with the Gauntlet program, for just one type of drone, the government wants 90,000 drones delivered this year.
Whoa.
I mean, so they're really, what's crazy is they're pushing all this, and they're actually hitting their timelines in terms of when they're letting people know stuff. Like none of the projects are slipping at all, which is pretty unusual. And then I think if you look across everybody, everyone's like, wait, everything is working exactly how you'd expect it to for the government. And then is it going to shut down? Is that going to cause anything, or is this just going to keep going? Is sort of where
is there a perpetual?
Like, let's find out by Monday.
Look, because you guys are doing larger scale enterprise orders coming in, so there doesn't seem to be a wait and see out there. But there's sort of this cloud hangs over because it could change at any moment. Is that the frustration point right there? Because the landscape could change in a minute, or you just put your head down and keep going?
So it's not a problem for us as an operating company, but it does affect the stock.
Yeah.
Right. Because of where people place bets, but we're really well capitalized. So we had to put about $20 million out there for orders for parts to build motors.
Right.
We're going to build the motors. Our customers are going to build the drones. It's just the government shutdown affects when they get the order, then when they deliver and when they get paid.
Right.
So it's not a problem from any of what the companies are supposed to do perspective. We all kind of get it. It's much more a problem from like the sputter.
The velocity of payment post shutdown, right?
Yeah.
Allan, you mentioned
wrecks tiny companies.
Yeah, because if they don't have the capital to kind of sit through it, right? I mean, you always say, even in retail companies, board shorts, the minute you get to $10 million in sales is your worst day because you got to raise money because you don't have the capital to keep up with the orders, right? Isn't that the nascent problem?
Allan, speaking of orders, you said 90,000 of that type of drone ordered by the U.S. government, and you're building the motors for them. Do you know what is the actual time it takes for a motor to get built by you guys? Is it minutes? Is it an hour? Is it a day? What is that time frame like?
There's 2 different questions. It's how much time people have to touch it versus how many motors we kick out at once.
Okay.
So right now, I think we are 40-some minutes touch time, like all total human touch time. I'd have to double check. It keeps getting better as we get more efficient.
Okay.
But our best single shift, single day, and mind you, we've only been operating since November.
Wow.
We've done 300 to 400 motors in a single shift.
And you're up to 3 shifts a day.
We're at 2 shifts right now. We are in the process of hiring and starting a 3rd shift.
Good Lord.
Yeah, future so bright, gotta wear shit.
Allan Evans, CEO, Unusual Machines, ticker symbol UMAC.
Hey, we haven't talked about this in a long time. Do you guys still have a retail channel? And is that still being? We do. Talk about that a bit, because that really is a little different funnel and lane for you.
Yeah, I mean, the FCC ruling actually really kind of sucks for like hobbyist drone folks, because a lot of the stuff would come in from China, or like DJI makes really good stuff. So we still try to put and sell all our stuff into our own channel, rotoride.com, so people can go buy these things at a competitive price. So we're still running that, and we have some great customers. And in some ways I feel a little bad because some of these some of this legislative stuff that I think is really important for the country does have, like, it kind of, takes away some of the options that were there for the hobby.
When we first interviewed about a year and a half ago, we said that you guys are the only pure play U.S. drone component company. And clearly, it sounds like that was by design. Because you're pure play, that means you duck all of these regulations and you're one of the only games in town. Was that by design in the beginning? Or were you being patriotic?
Both.
Okay. All right, makes sense.
We working directly for the government, for the companies that have to sell to the government, there's all the paperwork and the GSA rates and stuff. And so you need to hire extra people to be able to do it. And we think that where the government orders are great, when you look, the FAA's trying to open up delivery drones and then ultimately, like wedding photography and new consumer replacement drones. Mm-hmm. And what we really want to do is not take on all that government overhead cost, but instead just build parts that are price competitive and quality competitive for those other commercial industries. And so we've decided to stay out of direct government sales and be more B2B so that we're looking more long term.
Well, everything you called early has turned out in your direction, so I'm assuming that this is not going to be different. Thank you, buddy. Can't wait to see you soon.
Dr. Allan Evans, CEO of Unusual Machines. UMAC is their ticker symbol. Okay, we have a lot more coming your way. Don't go anywhere. There's nowhere else to go. Big Biz Show continues. We're live from the Loft 100 studios, wherever you are watching or listening. We do so much appreciate you being along for this crazy ride. Sometimes we call it a crazy jam because the Day Trader Trio brings it every single episode.
That was smooth, Mike. That was smooth.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Back here at the bar, it's Costa and Mary Godwin. Sully will be back here in a second. One of our guests who quickly became a favorite of ours is Ardes Johnson. He is the CEO of NeoVolta. Their ticker symbol is NEOV. And he is in the business of energy storage. And Ardes, I can imagine there's folks probably across the country right now who electricity is off, can't get out of their house because of snow, might be thinking, I probably need to call or talk with a guy like Ardes Johnson so I'm never in this situation again.
Yeah, right on. Thanks for having me, guys. And for sure, when you have power outages, it's a great marketing opportunity for our industry. But the reality is we have customers all over the country now that had secure power in a time of outage based on our batteries and getting some good responses on that, and everything's working great.
Hey, Ardes, great to see you again. Now that we're entering this new year, it's almost February. What the heck? It's time. It's
news flash.
So, talk about the success that you had in 2025 and what you're looking forward to this year.
Yeah, well, 2025 was a great year for us. A lot of growth. We had year-over-year growth of well over 200%, and this year we're hitting that same growth trajectory as well. And I would tell you, we've got some really big news that just came out a couple of weeks ago. We announced a finalization of a joint venture that is going to allow us to bring a factory here to the U.S., and that's really going to help us out in the second half of the year, up and operational in July, just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So a lot of great things going on for us and a lot of changes in our company, to be honest with you. We're expanding from the homes to the businesses out into even utility scale storage opportunities, and a lot of things going on.
Ardes, I know as CEO of a publicly held company, there are certain things you can't talk about. But as far as that new factory in the United States is concerned, is our government a friend in that aspect in helping you get that done?
Yes, I would say that what we're doing today is aligning ourselves with the rules and regulations that the government has.
Okay.
And we've put together this opportunity. We don't necessarily want to say with China or without China in this world. At this point, we're like, help us understand what falls in the rules and regulations that the government has for us. And we built that factory and the compliance and ownership of that factory to meet those structured guidelines that the government has. Of course, the government has incentives out there that allow for investment tax credits to be had.
Sure.
And those require you to meet these foreign entity of concern regulations, and we are compliant with those, and we make sure that we're structured in a way that in the event that those change, we're able to be nimble enough to move with those.
Gotcha.
Hey, Ardes, you were talking about the different factions that you sell to and market to. Talk to me about, how you are with family homes and how the adoption is when you're talking to people, because it seems like such a no-brainer, but as costs, what are the things that people question, and how do you convince them that they need the product?
It's a really big part of our business, and quite frankly, it helps us to put our brand front and center with the homeowner, or as we like to say, the people that sit around the kitchen table, so to speak.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. We talked at the beginning of the segment here about the outages and backup power and that need. However, energy storage, especially at the retail level, which is residence and commercial, industrial, behind the meter applications, is becoming an economic play. And not only is it working for the end users, we like to say the homeowner, but the utilities as well have a vested interest in this. They have a huge amount of strain on the grid, which is driving up costs. And these two things put together are very complementary in the way that they work. So the conversation is typically very easy in terms of the return on investment, but also the nature of resiliency and having that backup play as well.
Ardes Johnson is the CEO of NeoVolta. Their ticker symbol is NEOV. Ardes, how big of a hurdle is it for you to convince people that the adaption, to go to maybe solar or a different type of power, it's really not that big of a hill to climb?
Yeah. For us as an energy storage company, we try to remain somewhat electron agnostic when we're having the conversation with the consumer. But it ultimately comes down to how do we generate our own power to take advantage of this energy storage that we have, which for the homeowner, typically majority of that is putting your own solar generation on the roof. And over the past decade or so, solar is becoming much and much more of a thing that people understand.
Yes.
It really comes down to the numbers. It's really a return on investment that these clients are looking for. 15 years ago, it was the early adopters who really just wanted to do it for different reasons. But now you can really sit down with a client and say, here's the return that you're going to get, and here's the actual amount of savings of tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars that you'll save over the life of that system. Energy storage allows you to put it all together and really create this holistic energy management. As I like to tell a lot of homeowners, you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to be running your own power plant, and you're going to decide effectively how do you manage those electrons that you're creating, whether you store them, use them, sell them back to the grid. These are all opportunities that they're getting today.
I just want to run the AC in my house 24/7, 365 and not even ever worry about it. Ardes Johnson, CEO, NeoVolta. Ardes, I don't know if I've ever asked you this or we've ever asked you this, but when someone comes to you and says, Ardes, what sets you apart from anybody else? What normally is answer number A, or letter A, excuse me?
Yeah, for us, it's really, we're a technology leader. We've been in this business relatively a long period of time compared to other energy storage companies. We really understand how the system works, which allows us to have a clear lead in what I think to be called the quality assurance level in responsiveness to customers and understanding how the systems are going to work with the grid and without the grid. But another thing that I like to tell people is that NeoVolta, in and of ourselves, we're very nimble. And what that means is our environment is changing weekly, sometimes daily, and how we are going to respond to the market needs, whether it's the utilities needs, whether it's the homeowners needs, how things are changing. Our company has been very nimble. We've been able to model ourselves around a system that allows us to change platforms and to move in a way that will take advantage of the markets that are being created.
We got about 30 seconds left. What are you looking forward to, or what does the 6-month road look like for NeoVolta in 26?
Well, for us, it's really now starting with getting a factory up and operating, right? That factory is going to bring a lot of jobs to the U.S. It's going to onshore manufacturing here. That's going to help us supply to those bigger customers, the commercial and industrial customers, as well as the utility scale customers. Launching our new product, the NV Wave, which is our residential platform that we have. Putting those all together, it's really 2026, as people are saying all over the country, it's about execution.
Oh, yeah.
For us, delivering product, getting that factory up and running.
NeoVolta is the company, ticker symbol NEOV, Ardes Johnson, CEO. Unfortunately, that was going to do it for this edition of the Big Biz Show. As always, we appreciate you being along for the ride. See you next time.